And I love that description of Noah walking into his office, having that stream of consciousness, that flood of ideas. Because I have the same thing, although people call it ADD when they speak to me. But ADD is not a bad thing when you're running an organization like Aish HaTorah, and you have so many different things coming by your desk, and so many things happening at once. I wanted to close tonight by talking a little bit about Avram Avinu. And for many of you, you may know, you've heard me speak. I have spent the last 19 months quoting the Rambam that talks about Avram Avinu, and how Avram Avinu was really the first person that started the Jewish people because he believed in outreach, because he believed in telling over the message of God. But I want to talk a little bit about Avram's life and not just his mission. Avram Avinu found Hashem, found God. Avram Avinu tried to teach God to so many people. Everyone he spoke to, he told them God existed. But frankly, on a kiruv scale, on an outreach scale, if you were to rate Avram's work, you'd probably consider him a failure. Because only one student made it to the next generation. And that was his son Yitzchak. And so he puts us all into Yitzchak, and then he's raising Yitzchak, and he has such high hopes. And then God comes to him and says, that wonderful young man who you see as your future, you need to sacrifice him. Avram goes. One can imagine the struggle in his heart. But he goes to do the Ratzon of Hashem, do the will of God. And thankfully, at the last moment, he passes the test, and God tells him that he does not have to sacrifice his son, which must have been a big relief. So he comes back home to find that his wife, Sarah, his beloved wife, has passed away. So he immediately sets out and says he needs to get his son married, because Judaism needs to continue. There needs to be another generation. So he sends his servant Eliezer out. Eliezer comes back to Rivka, and Yitzchak and Rivka get married. And he's once again excited, because Judaism will continue. And then he waits the next 20 years where his daughter-in-law is barren. For 20 years, he is trying to figure out how this next generation is going to work. She finally gives birth to twins, and he watches those twins start to grow up, and he sees that one is Yaakov and one is Esav, and it is not at all yet clear which one is going to win out. And that's when he exits this world, and he goes to Shemayim. One looks at Avram's life, the challenges that he experienced. We love to think as Avram, believing in God, and everything was easy and great. But the struggles that Avram, the first Jew, went through, how many of us would be able to sustain our faith having all these things happen to us? And when I think of Rav Noach's life, we sit here in this beautiful building, we sit here celebrating, eating a great meal. The struggles that Rav Noach went through, the struggles that he went through in the 1970s when he had a simple vision that Jews that did not know olive bays, that Jews that did not know who God was, that Jews that were so far away that they could come home, that they could come back. And people thought he was crazy. And he set up shop here, and he built Aish HaTorah. And the struggles through the years, in terms of money, in terms of all kinds of other issues that would come up, it wasn't easy to build. Here we are 8 years later, we look back and we celebrate. But the struggles that I talked all the time with Rabbi Yehuda, his son, the struggles were always there. And 8 years ago, we lost Rav Noach. And as I've said many times, Aish HaTorah was a car. And the car had an engine. And that engine was called Rav Noach Weinberg. And 8 years ago, the engine fell out of the car, and it was passed to the Talmidim, to the family, to keep going, just as Avram had passed off the Masorah. And it was a struggle to get the car to move without the engine. So here we are tonight. Here we are tonight, building that engine. But the engine going forward will not rest on one man's shoulders. The engine of Aish HaTorah will rest on all of our shoulders. The engine of Aish HaTorah is going to come from the branches. It's going to come from the outreach of this building. It's going to come from the yeshiva next door, from the Rabbi, and from the Talmidim, our partners. We are all mechanics of God to build that engine. But we need to understand that it will not be easy. God does not make it easy for us to do His will. But it's worth it. I once spoke years ago in a camp. Probably goes back about 25 years ago. They asked me to speak. I gave a shiur in Sefer Bamidbar. Sefer Bamidbar is an amazing, amazing book, where the first half talks about the 3 different rebellions of the Jewish people, and finally culminating at the end when everyone, all of Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people, is able to come together. And I gave this class, and I talked about being religious, getting close to God, and the struggle, and it's difficult. And when I was done, the counselors, the madrachim, the advisors, they came over to me, and I thought they were coming to give me a yashikah. And they came over to me with frowns on their face, and they said, "We spent the entire summer telling all of these campers about how easy it was to be religious. And you walked in, and you told them how hard it is." And I looked at them, and I said, "Don't lie. It is not easy to be religious. It is not easy to get close to God. It is not easy to be a Jew. But it is the best thing that anyone could ever do. Because there is nothing better than being a Jew. There is nothing better than representing our nation around the world. When the whole world is hating on us in Israel, when the whole world seemingly is going crazy, not interested in anything spiritual or religious, when families are breaking apart, we look to God for strength. And we have to continue building it, continue looking to God for strength. For Aish HaTorah moving forward, I want to share this because here we are amongst the family. We have 3 goals. There are 3 goals that we are focused day to day on. The first goal is Torah. Is we believe that every Jew in the world, and I want to repeat that, every Jew in the world has a right to learn and study Torah. And that is why when you walk in this building, and you walk underneath that Yehudi sculpture, and you see the fire in the water, and it tells the story of Rabbi Akiva, who at age 40 did not know an aleph or a beis. And he saw the water dripping on the rock, and he said it's making a hole in the rock. So the Aish HaTorah, the fire of Torah, can make a hole in my heart. That is why that sculpture is in our lobby. Because any and every Jew should be able to walk into our lobby and learn Torah regardless of background. That is their birthright. And we will continue to make sure that every Jew in the world is able to learn Torah. Our second priority is what I call the global community. We have branches around the world. Branches that were started by heroes in this room. And as I've told people many times, the early branches, I compare it to, I said, if Noah would put someone on a plane, give them a parachute, and say there's a 50-50 chance it's going to open. Good luck. And Torah was built. And community was built. And shuls were built. And outreach was built. And we have to build off that now. We have to make sure that our branches around the world, for the people that aren't in this building, are strong. We have to make sure that we welcome them as family when they walk in here. We have to make sure that they can reach out to those Jews that we can't get. And we do that global community not just from the physical branches, but from Aish.com. And so many of the amazing things. I was blown away. We were talking about the Aish Talks. We put it on Facebook Live, and there were over 500 people watching our Aish Talks. It is our job to create global community. And I look at the yeshiva here because the community today is online through social media. That is your challenge, your generation's challenge, is to reach out to people. We can reach out to people in all corners of the earth like never before. But unfortunately, they have less of an attention span to hear it. And that is your job as you build that engine of Aish. And finally, our relentless pursuit and approach to millennials, to you, to people in their 20s, to people in their late teens, to people on college campus, to go to these campuses and make the case, Headquartered fellowships, essentials, the yeshiva, to go to the next generation, because frankly, one day, just as Rav Noach is not here, I will not be here. And one of you has to take charge. One of you has to lead. We are only as good as the leaders we leave behind. And that was Rav Noah's strength. Rav Noah's strength was leading leaders behind, people that knew how to get the job done. I want to close by just telling a story of Moshe Rabbeinu. We all look to Moshe Rabbeinu as the greatest leader in Jewish history. Moshe Rabbeinu that came from a secular background growing up in Paro's house. Moshe Rabbeinu did not go to day school, did not go to yeshiva. He was raised in Paro's house. He finally confronts the Egyptian, he kills him, he has to run away to Midian. And there's a story told, not just encountering the burning bush, there's another story told. The story is that he was a shepherd, and he was out in the desert. And that one day there was a small, young, little lamb that walked off from the flock. And when you're taking care of all the sheep, one gets away, that's life. As the story goes, that Moshe, he went and he walked and he went and he went, finally found the sheep, the little sheep that had wandered off. He took it and he put it on his shoulders and he brought it back. And when God saw that, he said, that's the person I want to lead my people, my nation. Aish HaTorah has to live by the phrase, no Jew will be left behind. No Jew will be left behind. We will scour the globe. We will use social media and internet and this building and our branches. We will make sure that every single Jew has the opportunity to learn and study Torah. We will make sure that every single Jew can come close to the Almighty. We will make sure that every Jew knows that this country is their home and is here ready with open arms. If we can accomplish this, the Aish HaTorah family, if we can build the engine of the car, then I have no doubt that very shortly after, we're going to build a very large building right across the street from this building. We will build the base of English. These are the tools. This is how to get it done. The more Jews come in, the more strength we have. I want to thank all of you for being here. Really, there is not a person here in this room that has attended this Yarchei Kallah which is not integral and important to this organization. And as the years go by, it will take all of us to keep building Aish HaTorah strong in the merit and the schus of Rav Noach.